Israel has received the latest aircraft. The country has hundreds of different types of weapons at its disposal, from virtually indestructible Merkava tanks to the most powerful air defense systems, but it's aviation that plays a significant role in the outcome of the confrontation. For example, the Israeli Air Force recently showed photos of aircraft in the sky over the Gaza Strip. During this operation, F-35 fighters conducted 2 airstrikes on 2 different fronts. However, the exact location of the attacks and their results are not disclosed. Nevertheless, the military reported that the aviation proved to be as successful as possible, and this case shows that the Israeli Air Force is at a high level of training. State-of-the-art fighter jets, incredibly powerful combat helicopters, and artificial intelligence-controlled drones are what truly inspire fear. Israel has an ideal set of aircraft to defend its borders and right to exist. But how exactly is a small country like Israel going to use aviation when there are hundreds of missile systems around that can destroy an aircraft in the air? Where's the best place to deploy and store aircraft so that they cannot be destroyed by a single precision strike? Why doesn't the country produce its own fighter jets, and how is the United States involved? You're about to find out. Modern aircraft are needed to carry out airstrikes, but their production is an extremely complex and expensive process that requires significant development costs. Israel's a small country with limited resources, and building its own fighter jets would require enormous financial and technological effort. That's why, instead of fully developing its fighter jets from scratch, Israel usually resorts to a strategy of cooperation with larger and wealthier countries such as the United States. Thanks to various agreements and assistance from the United States, Israel's received the latest American F-35 Lightning II fighters, which may really surprise you. This Steelhawk is a state-of-the-art military aircraft developed by Lockheed Martin. The F-35 was designed to replace older fighters such as the well-known F-16, which was inferior to modern enemy aircraft in terms of both speed and weapons. When creating the Lightning II, particular attention was paid to speed, reducing radar visibility and improving combat capabilities in both air and ground battles. We can say that it was conceived as a universal weapon, but has this goal been achieved? The aircraft turned out to be quite small, only 52 feet long, with a wingspan of only 42 feet. However, despite this, it's extremely effective.
Because of stealth, it's designed really to carry the weapons internally.
It can attack the enemy with cruise missiles, guided bombs, air-to-air missiles, and anti-tank missiles, which is enough to destroy most of the enemy's equipment. In addition, for several customer countries, including Israel, the aircraft was equipped with anti-ship missiles, which makes it even more versatile. At a speed of 1,200 miles an hour, it can fly to the enemy's key position and destroy their equipment with one precise missile launch.
It's the best flying aircraft I've had the opportunity to fly.
Due to its high maneuverability, the fighter can evade even faster missiles, which allows it to win even in a seemingly hopeless situation. However, the fighter will not be able to withstand the massive fire of anti-aircraft systems, and frankly, it makes no sense for Israel to send its pilots to certain death under enemy air defense, because something else can easily handle it. IAI Harop is an attack drone manufactured by Israel Aerospace Industries. Harop is designed to destroy strategically important objects and strike tactical targets such as enemy radar, air defense, and other military systems.
Perfect for the environment in which the Israelis operate.
It can be launched near enemy equipment and let it fall, and as soon as the enemy thinks that the drone hasn't worked, it can be detonated. This is a truly insidious weapon, but it has a disadvantage. Its radar is too weak. That's why IAI Eaton, also known as Heron TP, is used for target detection along with the Harop. Unlike the previous drone, this one is a reconnaissance drone and can fly at an altitude of over 7 miles for 36 hours.
Harrying is the most sophisticated array of sensors that money can buy.
Here's an interesting fact. IAI Eaton is one of the largest and most advanced drones in the world. Its capabilities make it an important element of Israel's military and intelligence activities, and in tandem with its combat brother, Harop or F-35 fighters, they can fight even the most armed opponents.
They loiter for a long time, they need to be able to cope with day and night, and that usually means an infrared capability.
This is the answer to the question of why Israel does not produce its own fighter jets. The government's decided to move to a new level and focus on the development of unmanned technologies. However, it's still too early to move away from the more familiar equipment, which is why the United States provided Israel with financial support as part of foreign military assistance. These funds allowed Israel to purchase AH64 Apache. This is one of the best combat vehicles created by the United States, which has been proving itself in real battles for many years, and now it's ready to prove itself again. Apache was created back in the 70s as a supermobile anti-tank vehicle that was supposed to destroy armored vehicles outside the enemy's range. During its existence, the Apache has passed through several waves of modernization, each of which only increased the firepower and efficiency of this helicopter. The most famous version is called the AH64 Longbow, which features increased survivability, mobility, and a cool automatic cannon with radar capable of tracking 128 targets and simultaneously attacking up to 16.
Screen. So what you do is you position your hand into an imaginary box inside the aircraft.
In addition, the Apache can transmit target data to other helicopters and guide their missiles. This is an ideal weapon for destroying enemy tank divisions in conditions where fighters will not be able to conduct open fire, for example if the enemy's in the mountains or other similar shelters.
Other aircraft you can hear coming, or you can hear them descending in a dive, or a missile was on the way sometimes, but an Apache, it just was out of nowhere.
When used correctly, Apache has deadly efficiency, but it's closely linked to the availability of expensive weapons, high professionalism, and airspace control. But Israel has something else hidden in its trump cards. You may be surprised to learn that we'll be talking about F-15 fighter jets, which the United States sold back in the 1980s as part of a new military assistance agreement. You may think that these are quite old fighters, but they're really a trump card because they have characteristics that even the F-35 doesn't have. The F-15 Eagle is truly a multi-role fighter that remains one of the most successful and well-known fighters in the world. This aircraft is famous for its outstanding maneuverability and speed. It's capable of performing complex maneuvers at a speed of 1,930 miles per hour. Just think about it. If an F-15 flew past you at full speed, the sound wave could tear the roof off your house.
F-15 was very effective at sweeping them out of the sky, and if they had any airplanes, they weren't flying.
In addition to its speed, this fighter has an impressive range of 3,000 miles, while the F-35's range is 1,360 miles. This range allows it to carry out long military missions, and surprisingly, in some modifications, the F-15 can be turned into a multi-role bomber. The enemy, seeing the F-15, will be ready to be attacked with cruise missiles, but obviously won't expect an aircraft that's more than 40 years old to suddenly fly twice the speed of sound over the base and drop a couple of warheads. In general, the F-15 is one of the most versatile and successful fighters that's demonstrated its effectiveness in many conflicts.
Had a reputation before the Gulf War of being a force you did not want to reckon with. Coming out of the Gulf War, that reputation was clear in everyone's mind.
As you can see, Israel's approach to air combat has a number of non-obvious advantages. By purchasing fighter jets and helicopters, the country gains access to advanced technologies and weapons developed by its larger allies without having to start from scratch, while Israeli engineers can spend all their efforts developing the latest combat drones, which has proven to be extremely successful. With such an approach and such a powerful air force, Israel can cope with any enemy, even if it has a numerical advantage. The scariest weapon in the hands of man is not a nuclear bomb, but an airplane capable of carrying it. For this reason, aviation is considered just about the most essential part of the military industry. Brand new fighter jets are coming out right before our eyes. They're true steel monsters with wings equipped with the latest technology such as stealth, advanced artificial intelligence, laser weapons, and assistance drones. However, let's consider whether it was worth developing new fighter jets, or perhaps it would be better to focus on improving existing ones, such as the F35 Lightning II.
Strike fighter is going to be the backbone airplane for hauling freight. It is going to be the muscle part of sustained forces.
The Lightning II was designed with the importance of speed, radar visibility, and improved capabilities in battle against air and ground opponents in mind. It can be said it was supposed to be a universal weapon, but did it succeed? If it's compared to the latest 6th-generation fighters such as the SR-72 and the NGAD, we can say that the F-35 is the sweet spot. The aircraft is 52 feet long with a wingspan of 42 feet. In turn, Darkstar has this figure roughly equal to 68 feet by 52 feet, which means it can carry more weapons. However, Lightning may be small, but it's very effective. It can attack the enemy with cruise missiles, guided bombs, air-to-air missiles, and anti-tank shells, which is not bad. In addition, the aircraft was equipped with anti-ship missiles for several customer countries, making it even more flexible.
The future of weapons could look very different to what they look like today. So we're looking at options to have flexible payload bays, have different missiles all contained within it.
No luck with the speed, though, 1,180 miles per hour. In the same SR-72, this indicator reaches 4,350 miles per hour in normal flight mode. However, the developers intended the F-35 to be just that, inexpensive, compact, and reliable. All the more reason for the low speed to make do with excellent maneuverability. The fighter can dodge even faster missiles, allowing it to win even in seemingly hopeless situations. It's got a technological thing going on, an innovative pilot's helmet that includes several features: target guidance, the ability to control the aircraft with head movement or voice, and a panoramic display. The helmet broadcasts the instrument panel directly to the pilot, which is quite convenient, and perhaps its main feature, vertical takeoff. That's something even 6th generation fighters can't do. This comes in very handy on an aircraft carrier. If you take into account only this takeoff, you could fit 90 of these planes on the entire deck of the Gerald Ford. Though until half of them are in the air, landing will be impossible. But that's not a problem, because the F-35 is still the only advanced deck-mounted fighter.
In the past, you may have needed, a whole strike from a carrier to be able to do that. Now you just do it with one airplane.
We've already compared the best 5th generation fighter jet to the SR-72 a few times, so it's worth talking about it and its tricks too. The developers of the U.S. Air Force are constantly improving their achievements, and that's why they were interested in creating a versatile fighter bomber that can perform complex combat missions and bypass enemy defenses. That's exactly what Darkstar has become. It's designed for total aerial domination anywhere in the world, and it's capable of circumnavigating the globe in just 5.5 hours because it reaches speeds of 4,350 miles per hour in normal mode and more than 7,450 miles per hour in afterburner mode. Just think of those numbers. This performance is possible due to the use of a variable mode engine that can operate as a turbojet or simply a jet. This engine allows to switch between different modes right on the fly with no loss of speed at all. Despite the fact that hypersonic engine technology is complex and requires solving many problems, such as cooling at extreme temperatures, the Darkstar engine is up to the challenge. If we're talking about the 6th generation, it'd be appropriate to compare the SR-72 not only with the F-35, but also with another representative of the new generation, the NGAD. Yet none of them can boast such abilities. As already said, the maximum speed of the first is 1,180 miles per hour, and the second has this figure as just a little over 1,860 miles per hour. However, it's worth saying that they have different goals as well. While Lightning II is designed as a multi-purpose deck fighter, Darkstar's main advantage is high-speed performance and advanced stealth. The fighter's equipped with a unique kind of stealth cladding that does not just reflect radar waves, but redirects them so that it does not show up on radar. When a wave hits an aircraft, it seems to slip over it and bypass the fighter. This approach completely hides the aircraft from enemy monitors so that no one will know about the presence of the threat until the fighter makes its first move.
This is just one potential concept, what it might look like. It's to describe a vision more than anything else. It's to put something tangible in people's minds.
The NGAD's also stealthy, but it's much larger, reaching a wingspan of 170 feet, and that's a lot easier to spot. Meanwhile, the SR-72 is capable of getting into an enemy base undetected, flying at 82,000 feet. The F-35 is capable of soaring only 62,300 feet, and the NGAD at 68,900 feet. Any of these fighters can cause trouble for the enemy, but the SR-72 still wins with its laser weapons. It's armed with the Laws 2 laser system that can actually burn through metal like the extraterrestrial planes in the movies. An innovative and very effective weapon with which it's possible to destroy enemy aircraft and defend against flying missiles. What Darkstar hasn't had much luck with is range. Yeah, it can fly all over the Earth, but it's unlikely that a pilot would want to experience 5 straight hours of overload, while NGAD can do the same, but without any problems. It can operate 24 hours and 7 days a week thanks to artificial intelligence and a programmed control system, so it doesn't need a pilot at all. While the F-35 has a range of 1,900 miles, the NGAD is not limited in this figure at all. All that's left is to give it fuel every 2,500 miles, and that's not a difficult task in today's reality.
To put that in perspective, a fleet squadron on a very good year might fly 5,000.
The aircraft itself is not even really a fighter jet, but rather a complex machine. It can act as a fighter jet while controlling multiple helper drones. In the case of drones, the NGAD is more of a command center with a database than a separate combat unit. Among the drones, 2 types are worth distinguishing. The first one is combat. This drone can fly at an altitude of 59,000 feet for 8 hours, carrying hypersonic anti-tank missiles, flying at speeds of over 2,500 miles per hour. The second type is a reconnaissance drone. Its cameras and sensors gather information from the entire environment over a distance of 23 square miles. The data is then transmitted to the main fighter, and commands are sent out to attack with combat drones from there.
Use it is by employing it against targets that we cannot normally see visually, whether it is due to weather, smoke, haze, or just some sort of other thing that...
At the same time, NGAD itself has a pretty good stealth system, which, although inferior to the same in Darkstar, but allows to bypass most air defense systems. It's also considered to be one of the most payload-carrying aircraft of the new generation, 42,000 pounds. It was influenced by the sheer size of the aircraft. While the F-35 can only carry 13 tons of combat payload, the NGAD can carry far more missiles and anti-tank shells, so it can fight a lot longer.
The primary armament is in weapons bays underneath the airplane, where we carry 6 medium-range radar-guided missiles.
The price tag for developing this behemoth for 2023 reaches $1.7 billion, and it'll take more than $40 billion to fully produce the aircraft. At the same time, the SR-72 was cheaper, only $34 billion. The leader was precisely the F-35 with its incredibly huge price tag of $55 billion, if we're talking about the development price.
We're looking at everything from within flight systems areas, we're looking at battery technologies and using a lot less hydraulics in the cockpit.
The thing is that in the case of the last one, the engineers had to literally assemble all the parts from scratch, which took more time and effort to complete. And in the case of the 6th generation, the developers had enough material and experience to make them cheaper to produce. And on that note, this video's come to an end. Thank you for watching up to this point. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and tell us what you think in the comments. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you soon.